some disturbing footage has come out featuring A'ja Wilson and her entire Las Vegas Aces team trying to pretty much flop, assault, do whatever they can to get that win yesterday, but it was just not enough, guys. This is some disturbing content.
Sometimes a dynasty doesn't fall because of a loss. It starts to crack with a single shove. For years, A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces were the WNBA's untouchable empire, a machine of superstars built for championships and red carpet appearances. They were cool, they were confident, and they were inevitable. But in one split second, a clash with a player most fans overlooked turned a basketball game into a war for the soul of the league. And it raised a terrifying question for the reigning queens. What happens when you realize your throne is no longer safe?
Man, listen.
Lexie Hull was getting pushed all game. Look at that. Like elbowed, pushed, but guess who fell? That's an illegal screen.
Look, illegal screens. At this point, they playing dirty.
To understand the explosion, you first have to understand the empire. The Las Vegas Aces weren't just a team, they were a brand, led by the incomparable A'ja Wilson. A 4-time MVP with a smile as deadly as her fadeaway jumper, they had it all. They had the rings, the endorsements, and the swagger of a team that knew they were the final boss in everyone else's story. Alongside superstars like Chelsea Gray and Kelsey Plum, and coached by the fiery legend Becky Hammon, the Aces operated with a surgical precision that felt less like basketball and more like a coronation tour. They were the standard, the pinnacle, and for a long time it seemed like no one could even touch them.
What the hell? What the hell? Y'all playing super duper dirty. But this is how they was playing. This is how they was playing. Let's see.
Leans into Lexie Hull, pushes her. Look at this. Pushes Lexie Hull down. Like, I can't take this crap. I'm sick of watching it over and over. That's a moving screen. And then pushes her again. Look at that.
But while the Empire was polishing its trophies, a spark was igniting in Indiana. For years, the Fever were an afterthought, a rebuilding team in a small market. Then, everything changed. The arrival of Caitlin Clark wasn't just a draft pick, it was a cultural phenomenon. Suddenly, every Fever game was sold out, every highlight was leading SportsCenter, and the team that nobody used to talk about was all anyone could talk about. But it wasn't just Clark. They had Aaliyah Boston, the dominant force in the paint, and Kelsey Mitchell, the lightning-quick guard, and more importantly, they had something the Aces hadn't faced in a long time, a team with nothing to lose, and a belief that they belonged on the biggest stage.
So Caitlin was calling flop. I'm pretty sure everybody's seeing them flopping all over the damn place. I mean, they was hella flopping in this game. I mean, it was bad, bro.
The first tremor happened during a regular season game that was supposed to be a routine win for Vegas. The Aces came in expecting to cruise, but the Fever came in ready for a fight. They were physical, they were fast, and they played with a chip on their shoulder that Vegas seemed unprepared for. The Aces still won, but they looked rattled, frustrated. For the first time, their perfect machine had a few screws loose. The world saw a crack in the armor, and it set the stage for the moment that would change everything.
I just gotta be honest. I just gotta keep it real. But at this point, like, when is something's going to be done? You know what I'm saying? Like, when is they going to, like, somehow fix this, or somehow, you know, like, I know they kind of fixed the whistle for the most part, but I don't know, man. Something just gotta be done, bro.
It all started with a single play, a moment that would be replayed a million times. A'ja Wilson, fighting for position, found herself tangled up with Fever guard Lexie Hull. Hull wasn't a superstar. She was a gritty, tough-as-nails defender, known for doing the dirty work. In a flash of frustration, Wilson extended her arm, a forceful shove that sent Hull stumbling backward. It wasn't the most brutal foul in basketball history, but it was the context that made it electric. It was the reigning MVP, the face of the league, losing her composure against an underdog who refused to back down. The whistle blew, but the real explosion was just about to begin.
Something just gotta be done with these referees, letting them just play dirty because they play dirty.
Here we go. A'ja Wilson, look at her trying to flop to get a call. Nobody touch you. And this is the biggest bullcrap of the game. So Kelsey Mitchell goes in for a layup. A'ja Wilson shows them their lip, so they review it. You ever see an Indiana Fever player get a review when they're called for a foul and they zoom in with a microscope and call it technical?
Before the game's final buzzer even sounded, the clip was already going nuclear online. It was clipped, slowed down, and analyzed from every possible angle. The internet became a courtroom, and everyone was a lawyer. Hashtags like #SuspendAMay, Joe Wilson, and #JusticeForLexie started trending. Fever fans saw it as a deliberate, cheap shot from a star who couldn't handle being challenged. They called it arrogance, entitlement, proof that the Aces dynasty was built on bullying. It was, to them, the perfect villain moment for the league's seemingly perfect hero.
They called a technical on Kelsey Mitchell and then called a foul on her on this play.
Wow.
And then look at this. This is ridiculous. Michaela Timpson gets a foul called for. And look at, Becky Hammond. Sit down just because your team's getting killed. Look at this. Another legal screen by A'ja Wilson. You cannot stick your leg out on when you're setting screens. A'ja Wilson. Look at that foul they called for.
On the other side, the Aces fortress went up immediately. Fans rushed to A'ja's defense, claiming Lexie Hull flopped, that she exaggerated the contact to draw a foul. They pulled up clips of the Fever playing physically all game, arguing A'ja was just giving them a taste of their own medicine. Their narrative was simple: this is high-level basketball, not a tea party. The debate wasn't about a foul anymore, it was a proxy war. It was about old-school toughness versus new-school theatrics, and about whether superstars should be held to a different standard. Inside the Aces locker room, the message was clear: circle the wagons. Coach Becky Hammond, known for fiercely protecting her players, likely saw it as the league and the fans trying to tear down what they had built. In her eyes, A'ja was just playing hard, and the noise was just the price of being at the top. The team closed ranks, their public comments becoming a string of cliches about playing our game and blocking out the outside noise. They presented a united front, but beneath the surface, the pressure was mounting. Meanwhile, in Indiana, the reaction was the polar opposite. There were no fiery press conferences or angry tweets. Instead, there was a quiet, simmering fury. Lexie Hull, true to her reputation, downplayed the incident, but her teammates' support spoke volumes. You could see it in the way Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark stood by her. They didn't need to say much. Their message was clear. They felt disrespected, and they were going to use that disrespect as fuel. The incident didn't break them. It unified them, turning an already hungry team into a team with a personal vendetta. As the two sides dug in, the WNBA itself remained conspicuously silent. For days, the league issued no statement, no fines, no suspension, and that silence was deafening. To Fever fans, it was proof of everything they suspected. The league was protecting its biggest star and its marquee team. Conspiracy theories ran wild. Was the WNBA afraid to punish A'ja Wilson because of her MVP status and lucrative endorsement deals? Was it all about protecting the brand? The league's inaction didn't calm the storm. It turned it into a hurricane of speculation about fairness and integrity. All of this set the stage for the rematch. It was no longer just a game on the schedule. It was the most anticipated event of the season. The hype was immense. Every sports show debated what would happen. Would there be retaliation? Would the refs keep control? Fans bought tickets just to be in the building for the drama. It felt less like a basketball game and more like a heavyweight prize fight, a powder keg waiting for a single spark to set it off. From the opening tip-off, the atmosphere was an absolute pressure cooker. Every possession was a battle. The screens were harder, the box-outs were more aggressive, and the energy in the arena was thick with hostility. Every time A'ja Wilson touched the ball, a chorus of boos rained down from the stands. Every time a Fever player hit the floor, the crowd erupted, demanding a foul. The referees were in an impossible position, and you could see the tension in every whistle, as they knew every single call would be scrutinized by millions. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. Midway through the game, in a chaotic scramble for a rebound, it happened again. Wilson and Hull collided. Hull went down hard, clutching her shoulder, and the arena absolutely exploded. Fever fans were screaming for a flagrant foul, for an ejection. Aces fans insisted it was just a basketball play. The referees huddled, reviewing the play for what felt like an eternity, as the entire league held its breath. When they finally announced their decision, a common foul, the building erupted. It was the breaking point. The call itself felt secondary to what it represented. For Fever fans, it was the ultimate proof of a rigged system. For Aces fans, it was vindication. But on the court, something had shifted. Fueled by a sense of injustice, the Fever found another gear. They played with a ferocious intensity, and in the end, they pulled off the victory. The final score was almost irrelevant. The win was symbolic. The scrappy underdogs had walked into the champion's house, taken their best shot, and walked out with a victory. It felt like a changing of the guard. In the days that followed, the conversation shifted from the rivalry to A'ja Wilson herself. For the first time in her career, her legacy was being seriously questioned. Critics pointed to her on-court frustration, the exasperated looks to the referees, the moments of visible anger, as proof that she couldn't handle the pressure. The four-time MVP suddenly had a new cruel nickname attached to her online. Four-time flop. Was her reign at the top starting to crack, or was this just the intense fire that made her great, now being viewed through a negative lens? Whether it was fair or not, the series of events had given birth to the WNBA's next great rivalry. The Aces versus the Fever was no longer just a matchup, it was a story. It had heroes and villains, depending on which side you were on. It had drama, history, and genuine animosity. It was personal, and in a league that was exploding in popularity, it was the exact kind of high-stakes must-see television that could elevate the sport to an entirely new level. In the end, the clash between A'ja Wilson and Lexie Hull was more than just a foul. It was the birth of a rivalry, fueled by pride, ambition, and the blinding light of the social media age. It forced fans to choose a side, the established empire of the Aces, or the revolutionary fire of the Fever. The WNBA may have wanted a clean, marketable story of growth, but what they got was something far more compelling, a gritty, personal, and unforgettable battle for the crown. The question is no longer if the guard is changing, but who will be left standing when it does. What do you think? Was it a cheap shot or just playoff intensity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shaped the game. 49.2s